Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and as a local Portuguese here in Lisbon?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. So my name is Pedro. I'm 39 years old. I have lived a bit abroad, as you know, for let's say 4 or 5 years. And then I just returned to Portugal, to Lisbon. I'm here. I'm married, and I really love to live here. It's very nice. You can start about the weather, food, even more or less our friends, even the expats friends.
So tell us a little bit about the foods. What's the typical Portuguese dishes like? The different types of food.
Oh, that's tough because we have so many different varieties of food, from meat to fish, vegetables. That's difficult, but if you go for the meat, I would say we have one very typical called cozido à portuguesa. What it is, it's basically different types of cow and pork meat cooked with cooked vegetables. So if you really enjoy it, if you like it, and try one of the days. Another one is fish, codfish, so bacalhau, abas, bacalhau, cozido. Normally say we have 1,000 ways to make a codfish, and basically that's it. We are used to make so different plates with so different varieties, and we love it. Actually, one thing that I normally say, and I'm sorry if you hear this, is every time I go out, I go abroad, I surf in terms of food. I love to eat quality, not quantity. And every time I go out to eat something, I have to dig in to find. And I know if I find a Portuguese restaurant, I'll be on the safe side. But nevertheless, I love to try different foods. But I just love it.
Good, good. So tell us a little bit more about the Portuguese culture here in Portugal.
But in terms of
Just what are some of the traditions? What do Portuguese people like? Just what the culture is like, the day-to-day life for a typical Portuguese person or family.
I would say that here in Portugal we are struggling a bit. It's about our income. We are not used to the European typical income. In Portugal, I would say we have one of the lowest income in Europe. At least we talk about South, North, and Central of Europe. And that makes it a bit limited. So we are used, of course, to be close to our family, to relatives, actually meet often with them, and the majority of the Portuguese are used to that. So they're not used to go out of their own routines, to have friends like Rodney, for example, only if they have work or if they have lived abroad. So they are more open to. If not, they'll just stay on their own routines and will be all the time a challenge. Of course, we have the culture during the summer to meet people from abroad. But again, summer, everyone is happy, everyone is having less and less clothes, so that they're more open to go out. But to have friends, to be more than that, then it's difficult.
Now, I know that there are a lot of different festivals here in Portugal.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what those festivals are, what they mean to the culture of Portuguese people?
We love it because it helps us to go out of our own routines, to meet people from different parts of the world, really to go out. But again, actually I'm not an expert on that kind of festivals. I actually just went one in my life. I'm sorry, it's too little, but it is what it is. But yes, it's more people open up. But again, they go on their own small groups to go from themselves. They don't do it always with friends. So only if someone is more adventurous or more outgoing to be able to. But again, to stay on the surface, to be only for the moment, for the experience, not to develop. We have some other festivals, not festivals, but events that gathers more people. And those ones are really open, but that's different people. I don't remember exactly the names for it. I should, but I don't. And those ones are more open to. But the majority now is for have fun, to enjoy, to be with friends out of their own routine, but they stay on their shell. They don't explore it.
Wow. Okay. So, from your perspective, what do most Portuguese people do for fun in your generation? Let's start with your generation.
Yeah. Well, gathering, going out for lunch or dinners, mostly dinners, because if you go for dinner, then you can go out. We love to speak during our dinner, our lunch. We have to eat, drink alcohol, wine, red wine, open up. It's something cultural.
How about the younger generation? What do they do for fun?
The young generation, they're a challenge, I have to say. But what I have seen, they also like to go out like us, but they are more attached to the cell phones. And I have been a bit around, and when I go out, I like to talk with the people. I like to have high contact, and I only see the new generations on their own phones, cell phones, couples together on their 20s, both of them on their phones. But
right.
In this case, why do you go out? In this case, stay home.
So how about on the opposite end of that, for the older generations?
For the
older,
yeah.
You know, the generation above you. What do they do for fun?
I would say we enjoy to go out and to talk with people. Yes.
Okay.
I would say that, and go to events, theaters, cinema, ballet, opera, some, but we are not a culture for opera. We do have some, mostly that.
And during the summer months, I know I see a lot of people at the beach. So whether they're in the water or not, a lot of people do go to the beach, correct?
When you have good weather, yes.
Right. Well, during the summer, it's pretty much good weather, right?
Yes, we do have. It's a country. If you live in Lisbon or south of Portugal, I would say
The weather is
in
great.
1 year, 8 to 9 months of good weather.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So what else would you tell other Globetrotters or people around the world regarding Portugal and the Portuguese lifestyle?
What they should expect?
Yes, what should they expect for travelers and expats, people that are looking to possibly move here? What should they expect when they come?
Well, first of all, it depends on yourself. Are you an outgoing person? Are you able to go out, get out of your shell? You are if you have moved to other country, right? That's the first one. But then, are you used to go out of your own home, meet people, be with them, socialize, not once, but socialize often, be available.
Okay.
If you are, yes. If you are not, well, it's going to be more difficult, of course. But again, because for us to open up, you have to socialize often. Of course, the person you meet also has to be available to meet. And again, I said in the beginning that Portuguese are struggling with their own income. So just you have to have an idea, not talking about values, but here in Portugal, if you come with a girlfriend and you work for a Portuguese company, both of you have to work to be able to live, to buy a house, move forward. Just one working is tough, it's very tough. possible. The reality is tough, and this is for the highly educated person. If you go for the low level without education, then look, the two of them they have to work, and maybe one of them needs to have a second job.
Right.
So you really have to know where you want to position it. I know nowadays it's more often or it's more natural to know to have remote work. It's the companies are more open to that,
Right.
and that makes everything possible. So if you come to Portugal and if you work remotely, it's just perfect.
Right. Exactly.
You're gonna join 2+2.
So tell me, what have you seen over the last 10 years regarding change here in Portugal? Because I know a lot has changed. I know off camera, you and I were just talking a little bit about the rent, of course, and the housing market that's drastically changed just in the last couple of years. But let's say in the last decade, what have you seen change, and was it for the better or for the worse from your perspective?
For the real estate,
Anything that you've seen change in the last 10 years?
if we start with the real estate, it's we don't have any regulation. That means that the prices are going up according the owners mostly. So just to have an idea and a figure in mind, at Yuan, for example, at Yuan you'd find for first of all, let's talk about the minimum salary in Portugal. It's now 740 euros, so which means the people are going to get close to 600 euros, or even less. So at Yuan before would cost 300, maybe 400, 450 if it was luxury. And nowadays at Yuan starts on 700 and goes to, well, I have seen, it goes from, I would say, 700 to 1500. And then you have the luxury part that can go up to 5,000. So,
Right, and most can't afford that for the most part. Right.
At Yuan, even if you are two, imagine getting the minimum salary, you bring home 1,200. You cannot. They're obliged to move out of Lisbon. Even out of Lisbon, if you want, can cost close to 900. 900 is with 1,200, it's 65 or 70% of the income. It's too much. You
Yeah.
cannot afford it, it's too much. So they're obliged, couples are obliged to live on a room on a shared house.
So, to that end, I know that a lot of expats that are moving here have also played the game with the real estate by bidding and paying more money, which only allows the seller to boost the price up for more money and become more greedy from that perspective.
Yes.
And then they become into a war with other people so that, the person that makes the most money can get the best property. How have you seen that impact the Portuguese people here?
The thing is, most of the Portuguese are living still with their parents because they can't afford to buy. So only when they start to live together, they start to establish a couple, start to go out, start to get married, in this case, start to look for houses. Even has to be out of Lisbon, because most of them are living here, even in Lisbon, on the rental. Mostly are foreigners working remotely or working here. And if they work here and they get less income, they're living on shared rooms, guys. So paying 300-400 euros for a bed. That's really bad, actually.
Right.
And the owners, they prefer to have foreigner immediately because they know they can afford. Of course, they're going to ask for some requirements. Of course, we have some areas, for example, Cascais area. Cascais area, it was an example. To Cascais area, the prices are going up like crazy. So the moment, and they have a preference, foreigner. And foreigners, they have the first one is Chinese. Chinese, Russian, Angolans from Africa. Immediately, it's the first one they want, and then they go for the other ones: German, US, France, and so on and so on. The Portuguese, it's the last one.
Right.
Portuguese only if you appears on a big German car, for example, even though it's talking. And in this area, they have even the real estate agencies. They have the waiting list. People that can afford, and they are still on a waiting list because they want to live in Cascais area. Because Cascais in Portugal is most of the foreigners. Cascais area, Cascais, Estoril, a bit of the good Sintra. I can then explain to you later for that one. But the most that are living in Lisbon are from India, and of course they work on the restoration, and they earn the minimum salary, or even less than that.
So what else have you seen, other than the real estate market, what else have you seen drastically change in the last 10 years?
I would say in terms of relationships, for I would say relationships in general. We have been known to be very conservative, and I would say that nowadays we are in the shell, in the surface. In beneath we are very different, so what we actually show to the others.
Explain that a little more.
If you go out or if you are lost, for example, you are a foreigner, you come for a visit, everyone is going to help you. And they say, fantastic, the Portuguese are awesome. They even don't speak the seniors, they don't speak English with me, they're making the effort to explain me. Now try if that person is going to invite you for lunch. No, he's not going to invite you for lunch. Or they just give you a little bit. Or if you know someone, for example, it's going to be for the moment. It's not going to move forward in any single generation. It's just only going to move if they see, this guy has, sorry for what I was to say. If this guy has benefit for myself, he has, sure, but this is interest. This is not true friendship.
So would you say it's fake, basically?
A bit, yes. It is a bit.
Okay.
It is. Unfortunately, it is.
All right. So from your other friends, when you have these conversations, what do they say about foreigners, expats that are moving into Portugal, and what are their feelings towards it?
It's very simple. If my friend has been abroad working, he can't see it. If he just works here, for him it does not make any sense. I'm saying something that it does not make sense. It's not true. That we are friends, we help the other, we support, because he cannot see out of his world. Only those ones that have been abroad, yes, those ones can see clearly, and are going to be on my side on that.
So do they have a negative perspective of people moving into the country? You know, just using your generation, do you feel like they have a negative perception of expats moving into the country because of their job situation or income situation?
For that, we really have to go back a bit and again go to what I have told you about the relationships and the divorce rate.
Right.
Divorce rate before the pandemic was 70% something. During the pandemic, after the pandemic, increased to 92%. It shows how fragile it is, the relationships. But this is very serious, and we should look to this seriously and try to do something. And so what you have told me, it's correlated and shows how fragile is the system, even the communication between us. But regarding what you asked, I would say no, we are not afraid of foreigners. We want them to join, to be with us. But again, and I'm not racist at all, okay? But if you look to the Indian guys, we don't want them. They are just too many. They are just too many. And we have some areas start to be a bit ghetto, in Lisbon center, and we don't want it. It's just too much. We are open for all the cultures to come here, but it has to be a balance. And we are seeing more and more, we are having a lot of Indians and Brazilians, low level, that comes here, and those ones are making the problems.
What kind of problems would you say that they're bringing?
On the daily life, for example, the service on restaurants, on coffees are decreasing. During traffic, they don't respect anything. They just be the one first. If you go, for example, to the hospital and they are there, they want to be the first one. They want to make a mess. Mostly on the daily life, you can see it. If you go for a different class, it's different. Again, they are more, I would say, they are more financially stable, so they behave differently. Not all of them, of course, but you can see it more or less where we have to change.
So is that an opportunity, would you say, for some of the Portuguese to kind of help mold them and embrace them to bring about effective change so that they won't stay in the same realm of being ghetto or doing something against that's offensive to the Portuguese people?
We can do something, yes, but for you to change, you have to change the economic model.
So you think it's all about money, basically?
It's not, but it has a big part. It's a big part. You can see it in Europe. Again, we are very friendly because our income is less. We fight more. Our relationships are not stable anymore. I would say the relationships in Portugal, maybe with everywhere, are mostly a castle made of cards. Look to divorce rate; it's too high.
Right.
I'm not used to it. I was shocked when I returned. I have seen it.
Okay, good.
If we are stable on that, or if you have couples that earn a bit more, they don't stress anymore.
Right,
And
exactly.
you can see it on the attitudes, on the behaviors. And I know some acquaintances that have their relationships that one earns a lot, and the other one earns just the minimum salary, and the way they treat, and normally it's the men that earn the most, and the way they treat the girl, it's horrible. But they are so insecure, they just accept it. I have seen cases. I will give an example. They go out for lunch. The guy that should say yes, we the Portuguese, when we go out with our girlfriends, we normally pay the lunch. At least we are used to it. It's for us, we really like to do it. Those couples, for example, and maybe it's that person specific, often to say, no, you pay your part, I pay my part. I know that I earn 3 or 4 times more than you. You pay your part, I pay my part. It's like this. This is not a relationship at all.
Right.
But then you start to see on a low level, this is quite a norm that are different, yes. But then it's in the end, it's all about the money.
Yeah. Wow. So no other changes that you've seen in the last 10 years outside of that?
You start to see some people are realizing that, but again, are few.
Okay. So what would you say is your final words to other Globetrotters and expats that are thinking about coming for a visit here or coming to live here? What would you say from your heart and your perspective for them to, be able to, take a hold of before their trip to come here?
Well, I would say, if you want to come, embrace the culture, share your experiences, be available to go out and to meet people, low, and always low expectations. And you never know, maybe the right person is just next in the corner to find you. But low expectations, be available. Sometimes even can be tired, you just want to go out even for a drink. And slowly, those ones are going to open up just for you.
All right, good. All right. Well, thanks for sharing all that information with us. I appreciate it, and so do the Globetrotters. Thanks a lot, Pedro.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.